Hello, my name is Paweł Waligóra and I am software developer here at Synergy Codes. And the topic of my presentation is accessibility, web for everyone. Accessibility means that applications and websites should be created in a way that will allow people with disabilities interacting with them. It is a very important part of web development because according to the World Health Organization, about 15% of world's population has some form of disability. And this is a big number. It's like ignoring every sixth user of your application and telling him, sorry, you must try in different place. Maybe they will give you a better support. We as developers must keep that in mind because we often forget that our way of using applications may differ from others. And in IT world, you will often see an expression a11y, which means accessibility. The 11 stands for 11 letters in word accessibility. The main source of all international recommendations and standards is called WCAG, which stands for Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And according to this document, there are 4 types of disabilities. The first one is visual, which ranges from minor to a complete loss of vision. This disability also includes color blindness, inability to perceive colors, and blurry vision. The second one is cognitive disability, which involves neurological disorders, as well as behavioral and mental health problems. Those disabilities have an impact on how well people process information. The third one is auditory, which includes hearing problems. We must remember that even partial loss of hearing can be an issue when it comes to audio content. The last one is physical, which includes, for example, inability to use a mouse, slow response time, and general motor control limitations. So when you are creating an application or website, you have to always remember about those 4 steps. Make it easy to read, make it easy to hear, easy to understand, and make it easy to interact with. But web accessibility doesn't end on disabled people. Especially now, during the pandemic, people spend more time in front of their mobile devices, and in this case, disability means that you don't have an access to a full version of a product, which is, for example, a desktop app. There are also temporary disabilities, like a broken arm or lost glasses. Situational limitations, such as bright sunlight or being unable to listen to an audio in a quiet place. Slow internet connection is also an example of disability that gives us a room for improvement. WCAG describes 3 levels of web accessibility, where A is a minimum, AA is recommended, and AAA is the highest and the maximum level of web accessibility that we should always strive for. It is very important for us as developers to meet the requirements included in WCAG, because there have been many lawsuits against companies that haven't been creating software that is accessible enough. For example, in 2012, Netflix was sued for not providing same services to customers with hearing loss. In 2019, a blind man sued Domino's for not being able to order a pizza on their website, and he actually won that case in court. In 2020, there have been over 3,500 digital accessibility cases in the USA. So how can we start improving web accessibility? The first thing is writing semantic HTML, and this is the foundation of web accessibility. It should be used to define a meaningful structure of our website, and this may not make much difference to sight users, but visually disabled users rely on this to quickly navigate and understand the structure of a document. Semantic elements like headings or sections describe meaning of their content to the browser user and for a developer who is writing a code. Non-semantic elements like div or span say nothing about its subject. So remember, if you write a headline, mark it with H1. If you write a paragraph, mark it with p tag. Take a look how it looks like from the developer's perspective. You will have a much harder time trying to edit this code without a proper usage of HTML tags. Using semantic HTML also gives us another advantage, and that is focus indicator. Focus indicator makes a huge difference and helps user figure out where they are on the page using a keyboard. They show which form is currently being active or which button is about to be pressed. For people using a mouse to navigate on a page, it may seem unnecessary. But remember, not everyone is able to use a mouse. It also helps people with attention issues or short-term memory problems. If it still doesn't convince you how important it is, think about using TV interfaces and how difficult it would be to type something using a remote or game controller without focusing active letter. Some developers don't like the way focus looks like, but you absolutely cannot remove the outline in the CSS. Removing the outline for keyboard users is like removing the cursor for mouse users. It should be well visible. So where should we put the focus on? The answer is pretty simple: on everything we can interact with. Focus indicators need a significant contrast in comparison to the background to make it well visible. The most common browsers have built-in focus indicators. However, its style will probably differ from the design of your page, so make sure you put in time to make them look good. Remember, if you can interact with an element using a mouse, you should be able to use a keyboard to do the same thing. But what if our user is blind? Pressing Tab key around our app won't get him far. That's where accessible, rich internet applications come into play. In short, ARIA, and it is a set of attributes that you can add to HTML elements. Those attributes define a way to make web content more accessible by providing, for example, a label that can be read by assistive technology, like a screen reader. If you have never heard about screen readers, it is a technology that allows people who are blind or have eye problems to use computer in order to read the currently focused element out loud. When a screen reader encounters ARIA label, the text will be read out loud and the user will know where he currently is on the page. Those simple examples show how small effort can dramatically improve blind person's experience when using a website. With a little help from JavaScript, you can manipulate areas to give user a feedback about current state of edited element. For example, if the checkbox is selected or if the accordion is collapsed, remember to avoid overusing area labels. For example, adding area label to a button which already has a label is not a good idea. It will only irritate the user. Another thing you can add to improve a web accessibility of your page is skip to main content button. When a keyboard user interacts with your website, they use the Tab key to jump from a link to link. And if you have a lot of anchor tags in your navbar, they must click through them every time they navigate to a new page. Providing this button on the top of your page will allow them to bypass this step. For people using screen readers, alt text is all they have to rely on when it comes to images, so never skip them. Prioritizing content is also helpful. Try to post the most important information at the top of the page so that users won't have to scroll through the entire document to find out about, for example, the price of a product. And last but not least, remember about properly preparing videos before uploading. Never upload video without subtitles, and make sure the video player that you are using has keyboard support to make it as easy to use as possible. How can we test web accessibility? There are many tools to verify web accessibility of our page. Lighthouse is a good source of knowledge. It is a built-in dev tool in Google Chrome that will show you score of a11y of your app with tips how to improve it. Adding a Slint plugin to your project may also be a good idea. It will help you with area attributes. Other than that, there is also Axe, which is one of the most common tools for testing accessibility. It allows you to combine end-to-end tests with accessibility tests. To sum up, I would like to emphasize that making a web accessible may seem like a huge task, but it is only a myth. With just a few area attributes, selecting the right colors, and proper usage of HTML, we can make someone's life much easier. And this is just the beginning. Web accessibility in IT world is a huge topic, and I strongly encourage you to dive deeper into it, so we can make the web accessible for everyone. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more Synergy Cafe episodes.